What's happening, y'all? I'm Mike, the Money Motivator, man. Whether you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this podcast, this is episode number 2 of Getting Money with Mike. Today, I'm going to talk about a couple topics. I'm going to talk about Bitcoin. Yes, Bitcoin. I'm going to talk about Bitcoin. I'm going to talk about Bitcoin versus Nvidia. And at the end, I'll throw in a little housing market prediction. And I don't really invest in real estate like that, but I'm at least give y'all what I think is going to happen in the market. So let's get it, man. Let's get it. Bitcoin yesterday or this morning just approved the spot ETF. What does that mean? And what does that mean for Bitcoin? An ETF, if you don't already know, is an exchange trade fund or whatever that is. But what it is a fund on the stock market where instead of investing in one investment, one stock, you invest in multiple stocks, right? So Bitcoin will now be on the stock market. So what does that mean for Bitcoin? Bitcoin is more, I mean, it's already been legitimized, but it is even more legitimized by being on the stock market. So what does this mean for the price? What does this mean for you? Bitcoin now being a spot ETF, Bitcoin can now be in your 401k. It can be, you can it's the accessibility is so much bigger. So by it being in your 401k, BlackRock, all of these big institutions are going to load up on Bitcoin, and that's going to shoot the price up. They're going to load up on Bitcoin. They're going to put it in the 401ks. You're going to buy some Bitcoin, and it's just going to send that price up. On top of that, Bitcoin is already coming back from a downtrend. It would have been way better if y'all would have bought Bitcoin when it touched down to like 16s. Right now, it's somewhere around like 42. But that doesn't mean that it's too late. Doesn't mean that it's too late to get into Bitcoin. At the current time, it's actually 47,000. But at its high, it was 58,000. Bitcoin will surpass that 58,000, in my opinion. And them approving the spot ETF is a part of the reason for that. Another reason, not so it's the spot ETF that just got approved by the SEC. It's the fact that it's turning around from a downturn. I think it came from somewhere around 20,000. Now it's at 40, 45 or 47,000. So even better. But now Bitcoin Bitcoin is going to have a halving, right? So let me give y'all a definition on the Bitcoin halving. A Bitcoin halving is a process where Bitcoin mining rewards are cut in half to reduce the number of coins entering the network. What does that mean? A scarcity. Bitcoin's value is held in scarcity. That's why they call it the digital gold, because of its limitations or the limited amount of Bitcoin, right? So the Bitcoin halving is going to add value. It's going, I think sometime this month in January 2024, the last Bitcoin halving is going to happen. It's going to be the 4th Bitcoin halving. If you could pull up a chart or look anywhere online, you could look at the first Bitcoin halving. It looked like the first one was when it was around $12 in 2002. Then there was another one in 2016, and the third one was in 2020. So the last one is coming up. So that's more value to Bitcoin. I got a price target for at least 80,000 on Bitcoin. It could even go to 100K. But don't wait until it gets to 100K, because once it hits a peak, it could be set for another downtrend. When you in your investments, you want to get them at their low. And Bitcoin is not at the lowest that it was earlier in the year, but it's actually, you know what I'm saying, it's lower than it's gonna be. So you might as well get in now, ride it up for a little bit. Also, when you're investing, it's better to invest in a solid investment. In a solid investment like Bitcoin, it's better to invest on the way down. Don't chase Bitcoin. Don't chase Bitcoin like crazy. Now, if you want to put a little bit into Bitcoin every week, you can do that. You know what I mean? And not really pay attention to it. That's a nice way to do it too. But if you control your investments like I do and pay attention to it on a regular and a daily basis, I'm buying Bitcoin now because of the potential rise. But after I put a couple, I put couple thousand in Bitcoin. I'm letting it sit until the next time that it makes a big dip, because we know from history it's going back up. So that's Bitcoin, man. Big news on Bitcoin. Grab you some if you don't have some already. Add some more. And once it get to that 100K, 80K mark, let it do what it do. Wait for it to come back down, however long that takes, whether it's 2 years or whatever. You wait to buy some more until that point. I'm not a financial advisor, but that's at least what I'm doing. If you rock it with me, you know I'm not gonna tell you no BS. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it right over here. All right. So Bitcoin versus Nvidia. I know you heard of Nvidia already. If you haven't, it's the best stock performing stock in the stock market right now. Nvidia, they make GPUs. They're the number one like AI technology company. They make GPUs. They make chips for cars, Xbox, like graphics, AI. Like they're the number one stock in the stock market. It seems like they're going up like $10 a day. I actually bought Nvidia 2 years ago around like 180, and now it's 500. My biggest mistake was selling it right after. So learn that lesson from me, y'all. Do not sell your assets once you buy them. Buy the asset. If you believed in it enough to buy it the first time, hold on to it, because I missed out on a lot of Nvidia's profit. Now I did buy SMH. If you're not familiar with SMH, SMH is an ETF or mutual fund that has the semiconductor industry in it. It has AMD, Nvidia, Taiwan Semiconductor, all of the semiconductor industry, and I think it's like 35%. So it's a real high percent of that ETF. I own that ETF, so I won't be purchasing Bitcoin. I mean, I won't be purchasing Nvidia as an individual stock. I'm going to hold on to that ETF. So Nvidia versus Bitcoin. Let me get back to the actual topic. Nvidia versus Bitcoin. I like Nvidia and Bitcoin for different reasons. Nvidia is growing faster than Bitcoin, right? So if you're looking at the total price, of course, Bitcoin has a much higher number. Bitcoin's 40,000, Nvidia is 400. It's a much higher number. But when Bitcoin goes up 2,000 versus Nvidia going up 200, it's a much higher percentage. Nvidia has been growing significantly faster than Bitcoin. Nvidia in the last year went up 243%. Bitcoin last year went up 170%. So Bitcoin went up half the amount of Nvidia. Now, so I like Nvidia as far as the short term. If you were to purchase one Bitcoin for 48,000 or 60,000, that could purchase you like 100 shares of Nvidia. So at the pace that Nvidia is growing faster than Bitcoin. You could get more shares of it, and it's less volatile. In a stock market crash, or if Nvidia is ever going down, it will never go down as hard and as fast as Bitcoin. Also, as far as so the difference between the stock market and the crypto space automatically, in my opinion, kind of gives Nvidia the upper hand, right? Because in a market downturn, Nvidia could go down, Bitcoin could go down the same way. but Bitcoin could go from 80,000 to 20,000. Nvidia is not going to go from 500 to $20. That's not going to happen. And if it does, the stock market has way stricter regulations, and it has a longer track record. You know that it's going to turn around when the economical cycle turns around. Bitcoin is proven the same. It's proven the same. You know that if it goes down, it's going to go back up. But Nvidia is performing better. Nvidia is the future. Nvidia also has more room to run. If you think about it, Nvidia is in its infancy. It's a relatively new company, and it's AI. AI is in its infancy. So the number one company that's guaranteed to lead the AI industry, Nvidia, making big profits, will continue to make big profits. You know what I'm saying? So Nvidia, I'm liking Nvidia over Bitcoin, to be real. Now, when it comes to long term, in the event of AI ever, like, I don't know, 20, 50 years down the line, AI becomes obsolete and there's something that's way better than AI. I mean, I can't even think that far in the future to think of something more game changing than AI, right? But say we get that far in the future and it's a different story, and maybe AI is making their own chips for themselves or something like that. Then at that point, Bitcoin would be a much better option, in my opinion. My recommendation, and I ain't no financial advisor, but my recommendation, grab you a little bit of both, but I'm Nvidia over Bitcoin. So let me get into the housing market for y'all before I dip up out of it, man. The housing market, as you know, last year, interest rates, housing prices have gone up. The beginning of the year, interest rates have been going down. It looks like they're starting to go back up. Last two notifications I got, I think they were going up after the last 5 or 6 notifications I got that they were going back down. The housing market, if people are worried about the housing market crashing, I do not think the housing market is going to crash. I think the housing market may have a cool off. I think housing prices may come down. Interest rates over a longer period of time may come down. Like, I don't think they're going to get down to like 4%. And if they do, I think it's going to take another 3 to 4 years to that happen, right? But I feel like right now it's going to fluctuate more to the downside, but it's going to fluctuate the interest rates. The housing prices, not too sure about that, but I'm about 80% confident that there will not be a housing market crash because of all of the different information and reports that's saying that there will not be a housing market crash, but also compared it to the previous housing market crashes, right? In the previous housing market crashes, there was a lot less inventory. There were no houses to buy. Houses went up and all of that. And the housing market hit the floor, bottomed out. But there's a lot of inventory out there. So it's not that there's not houses for sale. It's just that people are not trying to buy them. They cost too much. The interest rates are too high. But give it some time. I feel like the prices may come down a little bit. I don't think housing prices are gonna drop. I think they're gonna come down a little bit, and the interest rates will come down more over time. I'm Mike the Money Motivator, man. If you on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you on Apple Podcasts, you know what to do, man. Y'all see me next week.